Hello, everyone. I'm going to be reading the Contendings of Horus and Seth. So, let's read. As the son of Osiris, Horus presented his claim to the throne to a tribunal of 3 of the most powerful deities in the Egyptian pantheon. Ra, the sun god, Thoth, the god of wisdom, and Shu, the god of air. Thoth and Shu declared Horus the rightful ruler of Egypt, but Ra argued that Seth was more powerful and therefore deserved the throne. "The throne is mine by virtue of my strength," Seth said. "Let Horus prove that he is better than I, and he can have the throne." "Challenge me to what you will. I will prove you're weaker," Horus declared. Seth decided the first feat of strength would be to have both of them turn into hippopotami and sit on the bottom of the Nile. The first to come up for air would lose. Isis desperately wanted her son to be pharaoh, so she magically created a copper harpoon, which she threw into the water. Her aim was off, though, and she hit Horus instead of Seth. Realizing this, she pulled free the harpoon and cast it back into the water. This time, it sunk into the body of Seth. But the injured god appealed to Isis as her brother, and she caved and helped him. Horus, enraged, emerged from the water. He wasn't worried about losing the first challenge. He was focused on taking revenge on his mother for what he felt was betrayal. Horus cut off Isis's head, carried it up a mountain, and tossed it away. Fear not, though. Thoth picked up Isis's head and reunited it with her body. Tired from decapitating his mother, Horus went to sleep on the mountaintop. Seth snuck up and gouged out his nephew's eyes, burying them in the ground. Overnight, they grew into lotuses. Taking pity on the blinded boy, the cow-headed goddess Hathor came to Horus's aid, pouring gazelle milk on his wounds and restoring his sight. The judges wanted the 2 gods to make amends. They did reconcile, but the wily Seth decided to seduce his nephew. Now, afterwards, at evening time, bed was prepared for them, and they both lay down. But during the night, Seth caused his phallus to become stiff and inserted it between Horus's thighs. Then Horus placed his hands between his thighs and received Seth's workers. Horus went to his mother Isis.
"Help me, Isis, my mother. Come and see what Seth has done to me."
And he opened his hands and let her see Seth's workers. She let out a loud shriek, seized a copper knife, and cut off his hands that were equivalent. Then she fetched some fragrant ointment and applied it to Horus's phallus. She caused it to become stiff and inserted it into a pot, and she caused his workers to flow down into it. Isis then tossed Seth's workers into the marshes of the Nile and devised a plan to deceive him. Isis, at morning time, carried the workers of Horus to the garden of Seth and said to Seth's gardener,
"What sort of vegetable is it that Seth eats here in your company?"
So the gardener told her,
"He doesn't eat any vegetables here in my company, except lettuce."
And Isis added the workers of Horus onto it. Seth returned according to his daily habit and ate the lettuce, which he regularly ate. Thereupon he became pregnant with the workers of Horus. Seth approached the tribunal and declared with confidence, "Let me be awarded the office of ruler, for as to Horus, the one who is standing trial, I have performed the labor of male against him." Horus spoke up.
"All that Seth has said is false. Let Seth's workers be summoned that we may see from where it answers, and my own be summoned that we may see from where it answers."
Thoth put his hand on Horus's shoulder and said, "Come out, you workers of Seth." It answered him instead from the marsh along the Nile, where Isis had dumped it. The god then put his hand on Seth's shoulders and said, "Come out, you workers of Horus." Because it had been ingested by the lettuce leaves, it answered from inside Seth's stomach. Deeming itself too important to flout Seth's ears, the divine seed emerged from his head in the form of a golden solar disk. Thoth snatched it away and placed it as a crown upon his own head. Despite this damning evidence, Seth somehow convinced a trio of judges to stage one more contest, a race of stone ships down the Nile. That didn't seem like the wisest choice, since Seth's boats sank instantly, but Horus's floated along the water, for he had tricked everyone by making his boat out of pine and covering it in gypsum, a sort of plaster, so that it looked like it was made of stone. In a rage, Seth once again transformed into a hippopotamus and bashed his head into Horus's ship. It came apart in splinters, exposing the young god's deceit. This back and forth had now gone on for 80 years. Seeking a final verdict, the judges decided to appeal to Osiris, who now ruled the underworld. Not surprisingly, Osiris argued that his son Horus deserved to be pharaoh, and Seth, in chains as a prisoner, finally conceded. Thank you all for listening to the story. I hope everyone enjoyed the read, and if you have any recommendations of something you want read that isn't copyrighted or too long, I may look into reading it. Now, please enjoy some music from Vexento, and have a great day.